there are a lot of important things for good schools. Clean, safe environment is important. Good curriculum is important. Good quarterly assessments. Good relations with parents and communities, hugely important. But nothing is as important as the teacher and what that person knows and believes and can do. And teacher knowledge and skill, teacher expertise, dwarfs all other variables in accounting for student learning. That is a very firm, multiply validated finding since 1995. So therefore, figuring out what's in that body of expertise that successful people has is very important. And creating a school environment where people continuously learn about it becomes a significant part of what school leadership means. So in the work that I'm doing with your interns, we are exploring that knowledge base. What's in it? What are all the many things that are part of good teaching and learning from the practice point of view? And second, how do I gather information about that? And third, how do I develop my people? And part of developing people means acknowledging that the knowledge to do it well is huge. And very few of us had systematic exposure to all the things in it. The knowledge base on successful teaching is as large and as complex as the knowledge base on engineering, architecture, medicine. But those professions orchestrate the pipeline of growth very deliberately, and we do not. But we could. So that's what my work's about. There's actually a chapter about that in the Skillful Teacher, because the interaction between beliefs and behavior is so strong. One of them is ability can be grown. Ability is not fixed or innate. Same thing for intelligence. The bell curve is a false picture of what people can do, and it has unfortunately become a predictor. We use our measurements of people's current performance to infer what they are capable of, instead of just calling it, we don't call it performance, we call it ability. So that word starts being stricken from the vocabulary of successful schools, because ability means I don't have it. Either I have high ability or low ability, and that's going to indicate, and it is actually true that the ability to do academics can be grown. It's not an innate feature of what we came out of the womb with. So that's one belief. Another belief is we need to acknowledge racism in this country and teach people to act as anti-racist teachers, and also bring cultural proficiency to the classroom so that children feel acknowledged and validated. Their backgrounds, their cultures, and their families need to show up in some way in school. That's a belief. That's part of my job as a teacher. My job is to grow their belief in themselves and be perseverant. And my job is to make school a place that is relevant and acknowledging of kids' background. And there are a few more beliefs like that in that chapter, but those are the two, I think, preeminent ones these days. With the folks that I'm working with today, we're focusing for half the day on skills to observe what matters most. And the range of those things is very, very big. It includes more than classroom management. It includes more than clarity skills. It includes knowing how to motivate kids and get them to believe in themselves. So observation skills and knowing how to capture in notes what happened literally, so you can talk convincingly to people about what you're seeing, is an important skill. Actually studying the knowledge base on teaching deeply and making it a multiple year objective is a very important thing. Principals were usually successful teachers, but we need to go beyond what was our success to be able to be articulate about what good teaching is, and to be good at noticing the presence, the absence, and the missed opportunities for doing some of the things that comprise that very huge knowledge base of successful teaching. So all of that makes me primed as a principal to have productive conversations with people. I also need to know how to talk to people at different levels of professional maturity about their teaching. With a really developed person, I'm going to be non-directive, give them a lot of data about their teaching, and stimulate them to identify what they want the growing edge to be. With a person who is not very developed, I'm going to be quite directive, and I'm going to choose what we talk about and focus them on things that they need to do. And the bulk of our teachers are in the middle there, where they need some combination of me pointing out things that they might not have highlighted, but then getting them to be the owners and the producers of ideas about what to do, and maybe more collaborative. So all of us has a default style of what we tend to make our approach to supervision. That default style has a place, but I need to learn the other styles too in order to be a good developer of all the teachers in my building. Now, all of that is about what I do with individual teachers. And if I have to rely only on what I do, we're out of luck. There's not enough of me to go around, not enough of you to go around. We need to have multiple leaders, including teacher leaders, and frequent high-quality conversations about practice between people. And that means developing the capacities of teams of teachers to talk to one another in the planning of their lessons, in the examination of results, and then digging below that to the kinds of errors kids are making and what that says about misconceptions, and designing of reteaching. Now that loop best takes place amongst the people that teach the same content. The 3 of us that teach 9th grade algebra, the 4 4th grade teachers in the building, whatever. For those meetings and those conversations to be maximally productive, it's not going to happen on its own. And so I need to know what a good meeting would be like, and with the other members of my leadership group, visit all of those meetings, all of those PLCs, and intervene as necessary to help them focus on the connection between their teaching and results for kids. It's sorting through the maximum levers of impact that I have as a principal to improve teaching and learning. And formal evaluation is only one such lever. There are about 10 others, very valuable, if you construct a role right, to have an instructional coach or an instructional specialist, somebody who's not an administrator, but has 80% of their time available to work with teachers. Now, just putting that structure in place doesn't guarantee anything good will happen. That person has to be knowledgeable about instruction and talking to people in differential ways too. But when that role really takes off, it's because the principal and the coach have established a partnership to develop a climate of non-defensive self-examination of practice by the adults. That is, they are partners in developing an adult climate of continuous learning and non-defensive self-examination of practice. You've got to model that in your own behavior for people to think you mean it. It's not just enough to say, I want you to be non-defensive and examine your own practice and speak honestly to one another. People have to see us modeling that too. And the 2 adults that have the most contact with the most teachers are the instructional specialist and the principal.